Today is the 21st of Tammuz. As I mentioned last week, I think it was Thursday, was the 17th of Tammuz. That is a minor fast day, and is the beginning of what we call the 3 weeks, or the period known also as Bein HaMetzarim, in the narrow straits, in the constricted place, from the 17th of Tammuz, which commemorates the breach of the walls of Jerusalem, to Tisha B'Av, commemorating the destruction of the temple, right? So we're in this mournful period. Weddings, simchas typically don't happen during this period. We begin it with a minor fast. We end it with a major fast. And Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of Av, will be next week on, I think, Wednesday. So we're in, a specific period in our calendar of change, and also our Torah portion this week is a double Torah portion to finish the book of Bamidbar, Numbers, and it's Matot Mas'eh, and we'll look at that in a moment. So find a comfortable seat. Begin with a little movement of the spine in 6 directions to warm up. Finding firstly the grounding of the pelvis. Balance on the 2 sitting bones that form the base of the pelvis. Just let the pelvis ground down, whether you're sitting cross legs or you're sitting in a chair. Feel the weight of your pelvis. Feel a grounding down toward the earth. And then we'll take a little journey walking up the spine from the tailbone in our mind's eye, feeling the curves of the spine. As we kind of walk up, imagine that you're making space on this ladder, rung to rung, vertebra to vertebra, from the tailbone, walking up the sacral region, the lumbar region, and then reaching the base of the rib cage, we come to the thoracic region, 12 vertebrae. And then cervical, coming to that knob at the base of the neck and feeling the 7 cervical vertebrae that hug forward toward the throat. And ultimately, the spine ends all the way up between the ears. So maybe as we walk up, you feel yourself growing an inch or so. And then feeling that bidirectionality of the grounding down and the reaching up of the spine. And so we'll take it into cat and cow, arching and curling. As we inhale, rolling to the front of the sitting bones, opening the chest, drawing elbows, shoulder blades back, maybe gazing up. And as we exhale, curling, send the mid-back back. Take this in your own breath. You might be moving faster or slower than I am, but inhaling and arching, exhaling and curling. This is really life-giving, to make some opening for the spine and thereby some space for the nerves that come off the spine, especially as we get older. Maybe many of you have had experiences with spinal stenosis, with pinching, with bulging, with herniated discs. It's no fun. So this helps us reverse even that and open. Give it a lot of breath and a lot of movement in life. And then as you're ready, coming back to center. And we'll take a side bend over to the right. So inhale, bring the left arm up if the shoulder allows, or you can leave the hand on the hip. Exhale, side bending right. We'll use the breath with this, flowing, inhaling up, windmill the arms, exhaling left, full exhale. Inhaling up through center and exhaling to the side. Again, feel free to take this in your own time. You don't have to follow me. There's no choreography. There's really just tuning in with you. Connecting to your own self. As you're ready, come back to center. Inhale tall. And exhale, take a twist right. Same drill. Inhaling center. And exhaling left. Take this in your own breath, exploring side to side twisting. Inhaling through center and exhaling to the side, exhaling all the air you've got. Really inhabiting each breath fully. You can always bring sound to the experience, sighing, moaning, voicing. Remember, you're in your own space, so you have lots of freedom. And then as you're ready, come back to center. So, as I said, Parshiot Matot Mas'eh, finishing up B'midbar, and we will say, of course, as we do when we end any book of Torah, this Shabbat, we'll say, Chazak, Chazak, V'nit Chazek. We should be strong, we should be strengthened by our study. It's always just nice to acknowledge that sense of strength. So Mas'eh means journeys. And this Parsha gives a long iteration of all the places we have come from leaving Egypt, all the encampments along the way, and to where we are going to, finishing up there on the plains of Moab, about to enter the promised land. And it's 42 places in all that they camped over a 40-year period, and they're all named. So this recognition, we know there's no word of Torah that is superfluous. So this is clearly important. I want to share a beautiful piece by Rabbi Naomi Levy. She's out on the West Coast in LA. It's from a book, a newish book from IJS called Torah Without End, which was Neo-Hasidic teachings and practices in honor of the recent retirement of our wonderful teacher, Rabbi Jonathan Slater, kind of re-sharing teachings that we have all learned from Jonathan. Such a special book, edited by Rabbi Michael Strassfeld. So I want to share Naomi Levy's piece. Parshat Mas'eh includes a list of all the places in the wilderness our ancestors journeyed through on their way to the promised land. The list is long and seems irrelevant. The locations don't exist on any map today. They don't point us in any direction. What can such a list possibly come to teach us? The Netivot Shalom insists that this boring list is one of the holiest sections of Torah. He quotes the Besht, the Baal Shem Tov, who taught that this laundry list of places is actually a blueprint for your life. The 42 stops our ancestors made on their journey teaches us that each one of us must pass through 42 journeys in our lifetime, from birth to that final journey. Every phase of your life, every place you've lived, every relationship you've been in, every loss, every birth, every success, every heartbreak, all of them have been quietly leading you forward. Every experience presents us with a twofold holy mission: to lift something up and to learn. Sometimes we look at our lives and we see a bunch of stops and starts that don't seem to add up to much of anything. But we couldn't be more mistaken. Every place we've been through in our lives has been our teacher. Every encounter we have, no matter how fleeting, is an invitation for us to touch someone else in a world that is starved for connection. Sometimes we think we've taken a wrong turn, or worse, we feel utterly stalled and paralyzed. The pandemic has caused most of us to feel stuck and alone. But the Netivot Shalom, quoting Rashi, insists that even our stops are journeys. There's no need to beat yourself up for the setbacks. Love and learn, that is the key. Like a flower bulb beneath parched land, your soul has been waiting for the moment to break through and bloom. What step are you on right now of the 42 journeys of your life? Everything has led you to where you are right now. May you uncover your mission in every place, and may you fulfill it. Amen. So I want to look in our practice toward journeying. And the fact is, we're always on a journey, as Naomi Levy points out. And yoga is the microcosm, right? We look through this lens on the mat so that we can see it writ large in our life, off the mat. Each breath is a journey. Each pose is a journey, coming in and coming out. And each practice is a journey along the way. So wherever you are in that journey, whether you feel totally open and beautiful in this moment, whether there's some ache or pain or recovery and rehabilitation that you're working with, or just limitations that you have that are staying with you, it's okay. You're in the right place. You're in the right place to be here today on your mat in this journey. So there's always a rising and an abiding, a dwelling and a passing, right? There are kind of three phases in the micro journey. Each breath, breathing in, suspension, breathing out, suspension. So we arrive and we pause and we leave over and over and over in each breath, in each pose, and we can notice this. We come to the mat to notice it really, really deeply. So that's kind of how I'm thinking today. As we move towards standing, let's come to a low lunge. You can use the blanket under your knee if you'd like some support. Let's take the right foot forward, left knee is back, and if you'd like to have support from your blocks or from a chair, go for it. Make sure you're not on the top of your kneecap, and we're just going to let the hips sink forward. For anyone for whom the knee is really trouble, I want to invite you could do something else. You could stand so that you're not right on your kneecap, and just draw the top of the foot toward the hand. That gives the same action. And even more gentle than that, you can take your back knee to a chair and just start to drop forward a little bit, right? To open up the front of the hip flexor. So you always have options. I give a few, and you can really be creative with your own. Really encourage that. That is yoga. That is the practice. So we're letting the tailbone lengthen, and we're just letting the hips sink forward. And then you can just switch it out unceremoniously. Send the left foot forward and the right foot back. So whatever variation you're practicing with, what we're getting at here is to open the quads and open the hip flexors a little bit. Feeling the breath coming and going. Taking any micro movements that you need. And then the next thing we're going to do is come into a squat. I want to give you a couple options. One is on the floor, one is on the chair. Okay, so if knees and hips don't like too much flexion, you're just going to sit in the chair. You're going to take the knees wide and you're going to come forward. As little or as much as you want. It could just be forearms to thighs and lengthening the spine, or maybe there's hands to the floor. That would be if knees and hips don't want too much flexion. If you're okay for a squat on the floor, I want to ask you to roll or fold up the blanket to give support for the heels. Bring the heels onto the blanket and then let the buttocks descend. So either way, here you are in whether it's chair or whether it's floor, it's a squat. Just experiencing this. And of course, if your heels reach the floor easily, you don't need the blanket. But for most of us, the Achilles are not that capable. Again, letting the tailbone lengthen, letting the pelvis be heavy. Just be here and breathe. A couple of breaths. And then you can come off the blanket or come off the chair. Send the hips into the air, and we're going to come to a ragdoll position. Knees slightly bent, letting the torso drape over the thighs. You might take hold of opposite elbows, which gives a little traction for the torso to just hang. Maybe you'll swing it side to side, whatever you like. Just letting the torso, the spine elongate, letting head and neck be easy. And then as you're ready, take a nice deep inhale, fill the pelvic bowl. And as you exhale, press into the feet. Let the tailbone descend as you stack vertebra upon vertebra, rolling up. Draw the navel toward the spine to support the spine as you come up, to support the core, support the low back. Take your time coming up. And when you get to the top, pause here. Mountain pose, feet can be together or hip width apart. Having made the journey from the floor, rolling up to the arrival point of standing, just notice how it feels here. Connect with your alignment points. You know them. 4 corners of the feet. Stacking the joints one upon the other, knees over ankles and hips over knees and shoulders over hips. Just feel what it's like to be in this body today. And then we're going to grab our strap for a moment. Take the arms wide. Take hold of the strap between finger and thumb. So you're kind of pulling the strap wide apart. We're going to open the shoulders a little bit, inhaling as you bring the arms up and exhaling as you bring the arms back behind you. Right? So you want to go as wide as you need to go to not cause any kind of disturbance through the torso and the shoulders. If this isn't comfortable for you at all in the shoulders, maybe just something like an easy backstroke through the elbows. Whatever will feel good to just give some heat, some movement, some opening for the synovial fluids, the joint fluid in the shoulder region. Inhaling every time we come up and exhaling every time we come back. And then I want to ask you to be creative with the strap and just follow. So again, I'm pulling the hands apart. Follow the strap in any sort of movement plane that seems interesting. It could be side bends. It could be kind of a rolling. It's kind of doing a rolling kind of crawl stroke or something. Take it behind you, take it in front of you. Feel how you might engage the core as you're really efforting actually to pull the arms apart as if you could break the strap and kind of extending yourself open. I'm thinking a little bit of that Leonardo da Vinci beautiful drawing with the man inside the circle and the limbs extended. So notice, what is it like on this improvised journey? How do you engage the whole body and specifically the core as you move the arms? Use the breath. And then as you're ready, pausing, you can drop the strap. And before you fidget, just notice, how does it feel? What's the imprint of what you just did? So the journeying, moving through motion, and then coming to stillness and just observing as witness. How is it right now? We'll move to tree pose in any form. So again, if balance challenges you, you can bring the foot up to a chair. Right? Perfectly beautiful tree pose right here. It's really nice for just working on dropping the hip, dropping the sitting bone, or maybe you suspend, right? Will turn out, we'll use the right foot as the trunk, the left foot turns out from the hip, right? Maybe it's as a kickstand, maybe it's at the ankle, maybe it's at the calf, maybe it's above the knee. See what's working for you. Just don't press the foot against the knee, we never want that. So that turnout of the knee doesn't ever come from jamming the knee back. It comes from evening out the hips and really extending that left sitting bone downward faster than the right and turning out from the hip, externally rotating the thigh. So we spend our time journeying into the pose, and now just be here a couple of breaths. If you come out, lose your balance, just find it again, come on back in. And then taking the journey out of the pose and pausing, and we'll take the other side. So again, beautiful variation, possibility right here. Finding the left leg nice and sturdy, that standing leg turning out again from the hip on the right. And find your place of balance for today. See where that is for you. Make your way into the pose. Fall out, come back in. No problem. Couple of breaths. And then make your way out of the pose. Pause. We're going to take high lunge in a movement. So last week, we worked, if you were here, we worked with the back heel at the wall, really finding that opening through the hip flexors. Now we're going to take it into some movement. Again, if balance is the issue for you, we're going to be coming from the back of the mat and stepping forward into the lunge. So you might want to have a chair if balance is an issue. Come to the back of your mat. Ground the feet. Take the hands to the hips. Inhale here. And then as we exhale, take a wide step forward with the right foot and come into the lunge. Hands can stay on the hips or hands can come up, either all the way up or cactus arms. And then just finding your place in this lunge. Or if you like, you can take hands behind you, clasp hands. Just suggestions, these are all options. In particular, we want to send that left inner heel back and descend the hips. Right knee is never coming past the right ankle here. And then as you're ready to come out, inhale, step forward, exhale. And we'll moonwalk to the back of the mat. Remember moonwalking? And we'll take the other side. Hands to the hips. We'll be stepping the left foot forward this time. Inhale fully. Exhale, step forward. Find your ground, find your encampment, and then whatever you would like to do with the arms here. See what's for you. Send that right heel back, specifically the inner heel. Let the hips descend. Gaze can be forward or gaze can be up, again, depending upon how your neck feels and how much extension is possible for you in the neck. And when you're ready, inhale, step forward, exhale. I'm going to take it a second time. So now you know where we're going with it, you know the drill. You can take it just as we did, or if you like, take that yoga strap and belt it around the arms. I'm going to take an exercise band for my purposes today. The belt is going right below the forearms, right? And we're going to use this as we step forward and bring the arms up. So the belting is really nice. We can press the arms out against the strap, and the palms are going to be facing each other. So that's just a suggestion if you'd like that variation. Otherwise, take it in the same way. So we're going to step the right foot forward once again. And I encourage you to really draw inside to feel each step of the journey of this high lunge movement. So inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, big step forward, right foot. Now be in the experience. Be curious. What do you notice? When you're ready, inhale, step forward, exhale. And we'll come to the back of the mat and take the other side. Preparation. Find your breath. Find your grounding. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, stepping forward, left foot. Be here, work yourself, work your way into the pose. What's here? How can you refine the movement? And then as you're ready, exit the pose. Inhale, step forward. Exhale, bring the arms down. Take a hand to the belly and a hand to the heart. And just notice how you feel. And go inside. What do you notice right now? Just feel the wonder of being in this body and being able to move. And as you're ready, release your hands. We'll come to the floor. Grab your blanket again. We're going to sit up on the blanket. And I'm going to take cross legs. If cross legs is not so comfortable, you can move the shins forward a little bit. You could take diamond pose, feet together. Or you can do the same thing sitting in a chair. And if you are cross-legged, whichever shin lands in front is fine, because we're going to change. And make a tower of the blocks in front of you. It can be as tall or not as you'd like, or you can use the chair. Or if you're sitting on a chair, you can use a table in front of you. We're going to inhale, tall spine, and we're going to exhale and fold forward in such a way that you can rest your forehead on something, okay? So we want some rest here, some point of contact for the forehead. We're going to be working our way into some forward bending. We're just giving the body a soft imprint. Of the next movements that we're going to engage in. Notice where you feel sensation, right? What we want to discover in yoga is we want to come toward our edge, but not past it, right? So our edge is the place where we feel something, we feel some sensation, be it in the hips, in the lower back, some opening. Right, but not to the point where our breath becomes tightened or where there's pain or strain. So that's what we want to be alert to. Can I approach my edge in a comfortable manner? And then if you're sitting cross legs with as little ruffling as possible, just switch the cross of the shins, have the other one in front, and come on back in. Might need adjustments for that second side. With your forehead rest depending on the situation from one side to the other in the hip. What's it like to feel the breath moving, rippling through the torso as we inhale and expand, as we exhale and contract? And then as you're ready, pressing into the hands and coming on up. We're going to extend the legs long in front of us. So you can do it here, seated on the floor, or you could do it in the chair, which will reduce the angle at the hip, okay, if you want a little less angle. And if it's not possible to keep the spine straight with the legs extended, then you're going to bend the knees to whatever extent you need. You could bend and place blocks under the knees. So see what you need here. Grab your strap. The strap is going to go around the feet. I like to separate my feet a little. It seems to work a bit better with the strap, so more like hip width apart. And then the strap is coming around that front ball mound of the foot. And if you'd like not to have to squeeze fingers, especially if there's some arthritis or something, you can just wrap the strap around the hands. So we're going to just use the strap to help sit up tall, staff pose. Have some sense of where you are on your sitting bones, right? So a lot of times we're tight in the hip flexors or the back and we end up rounded, right? That we want to come off the back of our sitting bones, really be sitting stably on the center of the sitting bones, right? Pelvic bowl, you can really just imagine a bowl set on the floor. We don't want to tip it in either direction. Widen the collarbones, open the heart. And we're going to make a journey to a seated forward fold from here. So if you'd like, you might start to walk hands down the strap. You can work that way, right? Or you can remove the strap. And we're going to set up the blocks again to support our head for when we come down. So either walking the hands down the strap or working without the strap, each inhale, lengthening the space from vertebra to vertebra. Lengthen that crown away from your tailbone. And each exhale, folding maybe another half inch. So working in that manner. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen to whatever extent possible. And of course, you may just remain seated straight up. Staff pose might be quite enough for you today. So you'll see, and if you're coming forward, resting the head on a block or series of blocks. And then once again, encamping. Set up your tent. Be with sensation. Coming towards that edge, but not past. Just feel yourself deepen into the pose. Nice, long, slow, steady, full breaths. When you're ready, slowly coming out of the pose. And we'll take a moment to rest on the back any way you like. Any shavasana you like. Any final relaxation. It might be a traditional Shavasana with legs extended. It might be constructive rest with the knees bent and the soles of the feet to the floor. Maybe it's on your side in fetal position. You decide, see what's needed today. Taking some moments to come to stillness, to pause the journey. And as you're ready, begin to slowly make your way over onto one side. Gather yourself and up to a comfortable seat. We'll close our practice with a few deep breaths. And so our kavanah for this week as we find our personal and collective strength in finishing a book of Torah. Can be to respect, maybe even cherish, savor each journey, each of the 42 life journeys. To reflect on some of our prior journeys. And to notice the chapter, the phase, the journey we're in now. With all of its valences, pleasant, unpleasant, whatever is going on, where are you? In what piece of journeying do you stand now? With great respect for your own heart and compassion for all of our fellow journey folk. We might bring our hands to the heart and bow the head. And take a full breath in and a full breath out. And then lifting the head, releasing the hands, opening the eyes if they've been closed. Shavua Tov, everyone. Thank you for practicing. Sorry to go over by a couple minutes. If you're staying with us for Q&A, how wonderful. If you're hopping off, just a reminder, no class next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. And thank you, everybody, one and all, for practicing. If this practice has been useful to you, this and or any of the daily sits and our offerings from IJS, we encourage you to make a donation in any amount. It's always well received and helps us to continue our free offerings. So thank you in advance for that. The reason that we have no class next week is I will be teaching on retreat in Baltimore, near Baltimore at Pearlstone with the Clergy Leadership Program group of 40 rabbis and cantors studying in the 5th clergy leadership cohort. So it's exciting.